This is morning, and I think it is September the 2nd, and 2023. And I needed to start a recording this morning because I wake up at 2 o'clock in the night, and I feel a little pain in one of my knees. And so I was thinking I need to go up, because it maybe was because of this pain that I wake up in the morning, I was thinking. So I went up and took a painkiller, those that you can buy without going to a doctor. Is not it's this common painkiller, and I don't use anything of close to drugs that can confuse the brain. I don't do that, and I'm very careful. You know, you that have followed me, you know that my mother died of a complication of dementia, and the complication was that she had taken very much pills, and she was drinking very much. Not every day, but I suppose in the evening sometimes she drink wine, and so they have to take away the toxin in her body first to see if it was dementia or it was only because she was taking so much pills and was drinking that caused the problem she got. But she had dementia. And so I don't take any medicine that I can avoid. But this night it was much pain, and I was thinking, because I was clear awake when I wake at 2 o'clock, and I have been going to bed. I try to go to bed at midnight, 12 o'clock in the night. So I had only slept 2 hours about. And so I went up, and I have to wait. So the medicine was kicking in. So I was thinking, I sit about 1 hour. I will see when it's going away, the pain. And then I opened my mail box on internet, and there was a provider for a podcast that told me that my free plan for the podcast had expired, and I go to that place on the internet to see how much they want me to pay for to have my podcast on their websites, and it was a little money. It was not a little money. It was much money for me that don't have more than the lowest retirement in money. but I try to do the work for God without much money. It's better to not pay for things for myself. But in some way, the podcast is for myself also, because I'm learning from heaven. And so I paid for that platform to be on with my podcast, because they are great in graphics things, and it's like a book to look at and then click on their episodes. And you that have missed those first episode I did, and that the devil have taken away from those other platform I have had, this one store up my first episode I have done. So if you are interested to know where I started, you have it there, and I will write it on my website, because they wanted me to have a website to be on this platform, and I have taken away all my websites, so I have to do a new website for this podcast to is registration. It's not on that platform, but I needed to have a website. So I pay for a website, and I be surprised because it was very cheap compared to what I had before, that I needed to lock down, as it was so expensive, and I had no time to do all this. It was too much technical, and I'm be tired in my brain to do those technical things, and it was done so it was for phones, to look inside the phone, and not for a real computer, a stationary computer that I always sit at. So I had the problem when they changed it from to be for all computers and then take it to the phones. So I told them that I give up on this, and I had this provider in 15 years, and I say I'm too old to could understand everything of the technical, and I am not working on the phone. But this come up, and it was very cheap. I pay for the whole year, but the name is not so good. The URL address is not the best one, but it doesn't matter so much, as I only work on podcast nowadays, and not need to have fancy websites. I have some. I will do some sites, pages on my website, but not feel the stress I had, because I pay so. It was this surf plate that changed its way to show me the recording I do now. So it's time to change the subject, I suppose. But the name of my new website is prophecy.studio. And it's a spirit coming. That's I feel it now. Some spirit is touching me. So it's something they want to say. That's why it changed the surf plate here. And I will say they don't come so very fast. So I often can talk about other things before they are here, really come through. So one thing that have happened since before last time I recording is that when I was to one day when I was to the cricket field to see if this man was there, it come 2 air balloons, big, these air balloons that people flying in under in the cage. and in the same time it come a woman with a dog where I was sitting, and the dog was loose, and the dog started to run away. It'd be scared of the balloons that come very close to the ground. And as it was on its way to crash into the ground, they have to put on more fire under the balloon for it to lift, be flying up again. And it scared that the dog, and the woman was calling for the dog, but the dog didn't want to come. And she sit down with me and waiting for the 2 balloons to fly away. And when it was quiet again, the dog did come back. But in that time we have started to talk to each other. And she is about 80 years old. And she have told me that she's lonely and she have only the dog and her in her life. But the loneliness, it's now it's the spirit touched me, because it was about loneliness. The spirit wanted to talk to you about loneliness. So I have to wait a little what it's going to say about loneliness. That the key word, loneliness. But I started with my own, and then I don't know when the spirit's coming and talking. It go very smooth, this, to go into me and start to talk. But I started with my own talking first. That loneliness can be in different way. Loneliness is for people different from person to person. You can be lonely. Now it's the spirit talking. You can wait for it. It's still a little outside me. You can be lonely in a crowded room. That is one loneliness. That you feel that you don't belong to this crowd of people. You don't belong to that place where you are in. And that is coming from the inside of you. Oh, the spirit is so much touching. The loneliness is inside you. And the spirit is, now he is saying, or she, it have no gender, that it this spirit will open a door for you. It will open a door for you to be rid of that feeling that you are lonely in a crowded place, because it's a mental things. It's inside you. It's can be what you have experienced in life. You maybe grew up as a child. You heard it very often, and now I say it in one way, but it can be in many other ways. I have orbs here coming also. So it's spirits of your ancestors that is coming, because they have seen your loneliness. And the loneliness can start already as a child. And that they tell you that we don't want you here. You don't belong to us. You are acting wrong, you are thinking wrong, you are talking wrong. Everything like that is from the devil. And we are now the spirits are saying we are going to empty up that. We're going to dry it out for you. That feeling that have coming from when you were a child, from your childhood. And some of you that listen, you have been adopted. Or it's very much in the United States, is it that the relatives take care of other siblings, kids. It can also be older people that take care of the kids for their children. They have their grandkids living in their home, and it causes an emptiness. It causes a loneliness inside that child that I not really should be here. It's not my home. And you feel the whole time, maybe not thinking about it, but you have that feeling inside you that you are only a guest. The spirit is very on me, and it do the healing. That's why it's so very much on me now, because it's sending you something that you should know, that we understand you. We understand you, and we're talking to you about your situation you have today and the situation you had as a child growing up in another place that was not your real home. And then is it also this about I place in myself in this because I belong to this group of people that feel loneliness and have felt loneliness already as a child. But for me, is it that I come back to earth. I was in heaven, and then they sent me back because I wanted to come back to make a difference in this world, for the good, for not for myself, for God's kingdom, to help you, and I felt me loneliness. My loneliness was because I had a home in heaven, but I was coming back as a child, and I don't know. You should not say cruel. That God and the afterlife place me in a cruel situation, because life is about learning. Life is to learn to be strong, to be powerful in the kingdom that you are placed in the way that if you do the learning, you belong to the royalhood in heaven. And I know you listen closely. That is very good. I feel it, that you listen very. You don't need to scream at people to shut up, because you hear it anyway. You can go away from that room where they are very noisy and listen, and you can listen at this episode in another time when it's calmed down around you, when you're not working and do your duties. So it was, for me, is loneliness because I'm not in my home. I knew that already because I have told you before that I had visions when I was 8 years old. So I knew already when I was 8 years old that I didn't belong to that family that I grew up in. And that was an evil family I come to. And that was what I wanted to tell you. This is not cruel from God or afterlife. It's learning to be strong. And that also was very hard to be born a girl, to be born in a woman's body, and that make me not could talk like a man could do in the church or in other places, mosque or whatever the leader for religions are. But that also I see it positive because it have stopped me. If I have been in one place, and it is for you that is standing in the pulpit, and you that have buildings where it's trapped today. They saying that the spirit is very hard now. It's a trap. It's you have going into the trap because you now when the money is decrease, it's going down, and people don't have the money, and that make you stay where you are because that's your income. To have this building, to have that title, that to place lies inside people's mind, because it's about you, about your income, it's about the money. And we understand that. They say that from afterlife, they say that. We understand you, that you have to survive. But we don't agree to you that take overflow of money from other people that have to starve and go away from their home because you say they need to tithe to give the much money they can. And I think it's in the Muslim world, in Islam, is it 5% of the income, and in the Christianity, is it 10% of your income? But they can say something else, and it can be something else, other amount of money. But they want the money from you, and I understand that they have to repair the buildings, and they have to pay the musician and these things. But greed we don't agree to. Greed is one of the biggest sin you can do, is to be greedy. And I knew that from the start. Now it's me that talking. I know it from the start because when I was homeless in United States for 3.5 years, I never was the one that go first into a room with free things to get or free food to get. I never did that. I was the last one that come, and of course there was disappeared things that could be good for me to have, but I survived these things, and I never did that. And you have the option to choose what you want with your life, because I had no home in United States. I didn't have any money, and I was walking on the street to find some solution of my situation. And I passed by those bars. I heard them singing and laughing and talking. And I was thinking, I can go into that bar. And then there is always a man that is coming and start to talk to me and give me something to drink. And then I didn't know in that time that I have this with the pancreas. It had been killed me if I did that. And maybe he give me some food to eat. And then I have a bed in his place to sleep in over the night. But of course it be the same thing again next day. So I never walk in there. That was my choice. I could. The devil opened the door to the bars. And it was, now when I remember it, it was like they were outside the street laughing and talking, and sounds like very fun in the bars. And I know that extra noise came from the devil. But I never walk into those places. I did that once later on, but that was because I was thirsty and I was drinking Coke, not any alcoholic. And so it's about choice you make. You can have a decent life or wealthy life for a short time, but that is not the meaning of your life. To hunt for overflow of money. We understand that you need to hunt for the money to could pay the basic bills you have. We don't want you to go away from your home. And we have said it before, that is to seek God's kingdom first. And God's kingdom is afterlife. It's not a God you should talk to, but you should ask God for permission to could talk to afterlife, and tell them that you understand that they are still alive and affect us here on earth. And those in the darkness should never hit you. You should talk to the afterlife that is in the light. It's very important that you say when you're talking, I don't need to talk like that because I have cleaned up my life from the devil. But it's always they are always there to, as soon as you are weak, they are there to try to take you. So I can never rest from the dark side. But they are not in my spheric, my closest spheric, and I have talked to you about how to clean up your spheric. They're closest that you have to your life, to your body. And it is not about, that is my family, I need to take care of them, I need to do what they want me to do. Because it, like for me, you know it, you have heard it many times, that I say I was born in dysfunctional family. I was born in the devil's home, and you can also be that. So it's about your life. It's not about those people that you have in your family, that you have seen them and have heard them doing wrong things. And they have given you sign that they don't belong to you. It's a illusion. It's an illusion that they are your family. They are not your family. Those that is doing the things that the world wants you to do, they are not your family. So you don't need to follow them. You don't need to do what they want you to do. You don't need to behave like they want you to behave. You are your own responsible. You have no responsible for other people more than babies, like children that is too young to could help themselves. But other people, you don't need to obey them, to fit into that group of people. That, yeah, I know. It's touching me now. Someone have, or some have you that listen, that is into this rap music, and that is the devil music. You know it, but you maybe deny it. But that's I am glad that I don't hear what they are saying. Not even in when they speak Swedish in rap music, because they don't they don't want to sound like clear Swedish, not perfect Swedish. They should have some mix of Arabic Swedish sound in those rap, and I don't hear what they are saying when they do this. The devil's languages. I don't hear them, so I'm glad for that. But in the beginning, when it started with this with rap music, I was in United States, and those young I live with black people in United States, and those young 10 years old like that, they listen at this music, and I ask them, what are they saying in those raps? But I don't hear what they're saying. And they told me what they were saying, and that was very bad text in them. And it's they want the young people to make suicide or cut themselves or cut other people, harm people around them, and these things. And it's here in Sweden they call it criminal rap, and it's codes. The rap, it's not those words you are saying. They are saying because that's code for something else they are saying. And you that listen and let other people listen, you spread that code to go and do bad things to the world. So you should stop it. If you can do that, stop it, or ask God to help you to stop. Ask afterlife to stop. Stop it so you don't like it anymore, because it's going into your brain. It's many things that is today that targeting your brain to make you think like the devil want you to think. And now it's I have going into the spirit things, and I am not political person, but I want to talk to you a little about this. You know that in we have this Nobel Prize, the prize of Nobel, and Nobels, and it's December 10 every year. I remember it because my birth is 9 December, so the day after my birthday is it the Nobel feast, and it's going on very much political just now because the Nazis leader, he is invited to be in the Nobel Prize. And then in the same time they have invited Russian leaders to Nobel Prize. And the Nazis, they like the Russian. So that's okay, but people that is in political and that is invited to this Nobel Prize feast, they don't want to go because it's Russia going to be there. So just now is it very much turbulence is what is going on, and you know that I do my family tree, my DNA, the family tree is based on my DNA, and I have the family Nobels in my family tree, so I have not understood who they were. But now as I do the family tree, I see that they lived in Russia. They were very much into business in Russia and had lots of money in Russia. But then it's come this to take away all the royals and those that have lots of money to make them go away, kill. You know, my ancestor was killed. The last Tsar of Russia, they were killed because they didn't want to have royals in Russia. It was royal before that. 1918 was they killed. And many had to run away from Russia. And so the nobles have to do that. So it seems like they don't know their history. Or do they want to put together the connection with nobles and Russia again? It's very interesting to know these things. I understand it was much in it that in Jerusalem 2016 they told me from Afterlife that I should do my DNA. And it was not only where I come from, it's about the history. So now I know that the nobles had their most success from the beginning in Russia. And they were born in Russia. And then they have to run away and come back to Sweden. So that's a question I have, but I'm not political person, so but I know this, and I want you to know that they have their success in Russia, and maybe they have connection in Russia still, and they be forced to have Russian people in a Nobel feast. And it's very strange because they didn't had Russian people last time. but now they have it. It was war also going on in last year in December 10. It was going on, started, and they didn't have Russian there, and now they have Russian coming to the feast, not to get the prize, maybe prize, we don't know yet as it's secret. So they didn't want to make it like they lie so much, the Nazi, this party. So he say, I don't want to go there. I was not invited last year to the Nobel Prize feast. So why should I go now, he's saying. But it is political lies going on. But I wanted only to tell you that I know the Nobels is in my family tree. And you know that I have ancestors that lived and was born in Russia. And I know some of the stories now that I didn't know before. So the DNA test do very much to my life. I didn't know I had anything with abroad to do. I thought I was Swedish, maybe Nordic only. Never ever that I thought I should be in the royal families and be spread all over the world to be the pioneers for the Mormon church, and then most of all surprises is that I am Jewish. That's it's very hard to get it in. It's it is, but I did 2 DNA tests on my mother's family line, and it was the same result, so it must be true. And the DNA test did I do, the first one I did in Ireland, and the other I did in the United States. So they were not on the same place. So it's time for me to heat up my breakfast. I tried to eat my breakfast, but I wanted to do this recording. And on here, the describe of the podcast, I will give you the address to my new website, but it have not started yet. So I say it's on Monday, maybe it is on internet websites, and I'm going to work tomorrow to place information on the website. So it's only the address just now. So I hope I don't remember, as I was in the spirit now, what the spirit was talking about. I know the key word because I was saying that to myself. That key word was loneliness. That's the only thing I know. And then the spirit come inside me and start to talk. And then I don't know because they take me away. And I am only allowed to talk when they want me to talk. So, thank you and God bless you, and I hope you get the healing from this episode, and for many episodes they have make. I am only a tool for the afterlife. It's their podcast, those in afterlife, and it's included God. That is their podcast. It's not my podcast. It's for you and also for me to learn. So God bless you.